Welcome to the Open Books Podcast, where we discuss all things going on in the real estate industry, helping you take the road less traveled to real estate success, guiding you to the top 10%. I am alongside my co-host Casey Tudor and Brooke Massey, and I am Curtis Haddock. It's so good to be here today. Happy day.
Yep. I skated in here.
You what?
I ice skated here.
Oh. Nice.
I mean, it's cheaper than gas.
You probably didn't. I don't know how you made it on your skates because there's not ice all the way here.
I mean, you just gotta
part of the way.
Probably have to skate and then hop or something to get to the next piece of black ice.
Have you guys ever been ice skating?
No.
Yes.
It's really hard.
It is.
It looks hard.
Let's hold this episode until the summer.
Okay.
Post it
let's do
in
it.
the summer.
Then people will be really confused.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to understand,
or really impressed about my ice skating skills,
or that, you know,
if you got going fast enough over a body of water, I've seen people do it. Not necessarily with ice skates, but like running, they actually get
on
some
a boat,
distance.
like a boat. You'll be on the water.
No, I'm talking about running.
You're watching too much Dragon Ball Z or Avatar Airbender.
Who have you seen run on water if they go fast enough?
Just Google it.
I saw a TikTok once of a guy trying to walk on water, and he had a swimming pool, and he tried all these different things. He tried to put tennis rackets under his feet and all this, and I'll tell you, he still didn't walk on that water.
Yeah.
I didn't say anyone walked on water. I said he ran on it. And
well, that's what he was trying to do.
I think the
Usain Bolt couldn't run on water.
Who? Bolt?
Yeah.
Who's Bolt?
You don't know who Usain Bolt is? The fastest man in the world?
Bolt is the little dog from Disney.
Not the dog. You guys don't know the Jamaican Usain Bolt? You guys are...
Oh,
what?
Wait.
That's so sad and disappointing. Neither of you can say you're sports people.
Oh, I know who he is. Yes, Bolt. He won the Olympics and broke all these records and
Brooke
all that.
Has redeemed herself.
Yeah. See, I'm totally into sports.
He has the records for the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash.
So he could do it.
But also,
no, he can't. Call him. No, he can't. I don't think he can.
Let's Instagram him.
Let's call him. We need a sponsorship.
You do know that there's videos that can be edited, Casey?
What?
You should AI walking on water. Be like, when you're looking for your next agent, look for one that can walk on water.
It's like skipping a rock. It's the same type of...
Okay, well, let me know how that is, and we will have a follow-up episode on just that.
Yeah, I don't think you can skip people.
Okay.
Sure, you throw them hard enough, you could.
I think that the mass and the physics behind it is just not possible.
Okay.
And I'll stand by that.
I'll spend the next 4 hours of my day editing a video.
To prove me wrong. Look, I just threw this person across water.
Casey, next month, I'm broke.
And it's the only way you can do it is go find a baby infant that's lighted up.
Yeah.
I guess if you invented walking on water, though, whether it's edited or not, then you wouldn't have to sell any more houses.
All these books keep telling me to, spend my time wisely and do what's most important. Do the top 3 things today. And today, one of the things is making a video of someone running on water.
Oh, gosh. How about we talk about some important stuff today?
What is that? This is not important?
I mean, I was going to talk about my new pillow, but I'll save it for the next episode.
Pillow. Like you said, pillow.
Did I say it like that?
Yeah. I like my pillows, too.
Oh, goodness.
No, I got a really cool new pillow that I think is going to change my life. Pillow?
That was better.
You put an E in it.
I don't know.
Pillow.
So how many pillows do you have?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just bougie.
Maybe.
Maybe that's how I say my pillow.
It's like how I say naked.
Naked?
People always make fun of how I say that.
Well, is that how you say it? How you just said
naked?
it?
Naked?
Naked.
Nothing wrong with that.
Naked.
That's what I always thought.
Yeah. Naked with the pillows. Anyways, okay, new subject.
Hold on, I got one more word. My wife makes fun of me hardcore every time I say crayon.
Say what?
Interesting.
Crayon, yeah.
Clan?
Crayons, like crayons. Because she wants to.
Crayon?
She wants to.
Crayon.
Yeah, she wants to say crayon, and I just say crayons. It's just crayons.
I can't with you.
Do you say crayon? A crayon.
I mean, I don't say it all the time, but a crayon.
Crayons. That is a funny word. What's that? What's that mental thing where you can't start? You start thinking like that's not a real word. What is that called when you start over?
Oh, yeah.
That's what's happening to me right now with crayon.
And I just, am I,
a Mandela effect?
I'm
just kidding. That's completely different. A Mandela effect.
That's when you think something is true, I think.
And the government changed you to brainwash you.
And it's actually not. It's actually, no, like I think that what you're talking about is like how everyone in the world could swear that
Berenstain Bears was spelled different.
Yeah, or that Darth Vader.
Yes.
Bernstein.
That Darth Vader says, Luke, I am your father. And he doesn't say that.
Yes, there's a ton. There was one that just came out, and my wife and I were tripping because we were on Disney Plus, and everyone knows it's Zootopia. Well, on Disney Plus it's Zoopolis. That's a hard word to say. And I was like, no, it's not. We just looked at it and I was like, the government totally brainwashed us because that is Zootopia. Then we started Googling it and it wasn't one. But
it's called semantic association.
So on Disney Plus it's Zoopolis. That's a hard word to say. Anyways, I guess in other countries, for some reason, they had to name it that instead of Zootopia for whatever reason. And so on Disney Plus, they just made it that instead of Zootopia.
Okay, so they're still Zootopia.
They're still Zootopia, but it really was like, trippy. I was about to get really mad.
Yeah. The word I was looking for is somatic satiation.
Yeah,
you didn't know that? I don't even know what you just said.
What?
I don't even know what you just said.
That's whenever you repeat a word over and over and over, and then you start
like, that's not a real word. That's a weird word.
Why is it pronounced that way? Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so today, if anyone is still with us, we are talking about we're going to give you guys an update to the NAR settlement that everybody loves to love.
We had to start out the podcast the way we did because this is not like exciting stuff. You know, well, I mean, it is when you're in real estate and you're nerdy about it.
Well, I mean, that's our audience.
Well, also,
that's true.
You better care about it. This is your dang career. You know, these are the biggest changes, probably the biggest changes in real estate history.
Yeah, I think the people that don't care about it or trying to ignore are people that don't sell anything.
That's fair.
And we'll talk about that. Their new bad habits that they've got that's going to get them landed in some trouble.
Well, go.
I am getting annoyed of all of the posts in these social media groups about people, and I think that they're trolling. They have to be, because it's like every other day someone makes a post like, why can't I ask for more commission as a buyer's agent? Or why is the listing agent getting 3.5 and the buyer's agent getting 2.5? Like, this doesn't seem right. How are they able to get away with this?
It's every day.
It's all the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, these people are just trolling to get a response out of people, and I'm like, it's annoying.
This is a little unrelated, but what really annoys me right now is all the posts from realtors about who is in office and how it is already affecting their business. Mm-hmm. You guys are so out of touch.
They don't sell
anything.
That's why.
And I was like, I feel like I make more money.
Find someone to blame. It's like, well, it just doesn't matter who's in office. Like, selling is selling, period.
Well,
people always need to buy and sell a house. That happens every day.
Well, people will choose to ignore reality just because of their feelings. Like, they could be like the market could be booming, but because someone in office is someone they don't like, then it's the end of the world still.
Right.
And vice versa. You know, any of that stuff could.
I'll say what actually technically has made it difficult for people is in 2021, whenever, you know, prices were just on the rise. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even matter about that. It was interest rate because it's 3%. And so people were buying $400,000 or $500,000 houses, which now in this market, they're buying like $300,000 houses instead of $500,000.
Yep.
That's what I've noticed because the checks aren't as big.
Yeah.
And so that I can see that. But again, it's like, well, in sales, and it's like you have to go sell more houses.
Absolutely.
Well, how has the NAR settlement affected your guys' business? Let's just start there.
Well, I think it's affected my business in a fairly positive way.
Yeah.
Because now, well, in the past, what would happen is you would just grab a client, get one from an open house, say, hey, let me go show you some houses. You try to earn their business. And I still love that method. But what would happen a lot is you would find out that they just went and built or went and put an offer in with their cousin's mom because they had a license. And so now you have to slow the conversation down a little bit, and then they have to be willing to talk about money up front, which I like because now it's just a little bit
transparent. You're setting expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
You get more serious buyers too.
Yeah, and then if someone's like, "Well, I'm not signing that," well, if you tell me that after I explain it to you in the way that I explain it, I feel like you're just not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
You know, and you find that out now instead of later.
Yeah.
So that's what I like, and it does make it more transparent for the buyers to understand how you're getting paid, even if they're not paying you.
To me, the only thing that's changed, other than like some of the paperwork aspect of it, is kind of what we're talking about already. It's just education. It's just more transparent. It's more opportunities to talk to people about the process, how it works, what to expect, and you can use that to your advantage. And other than that, like, nothing has changed. When I see people talking about how they're going to be working with less buyers, like buyers, we're not going to be able to work with buyers and this and that, like they just let the fear of how they assumed the public was going to respond, and they stopped pursuing buyers. They got out of the industry. And at the end of the day, what people fail to realize, I think sometimes, is the general public does, like, it's an intimidating purchase, and they need us to help them facilitate it.
That's what I was going to say, because now more so than ever with all these extra rules, they're so lost, sellers and buyers, like, because there's technically more options, right, out there that, I mean, it still works the same, but they're not that these options weren't already out there, but now it's like more so at the forefront. And it makes it so confusing to a lot of people. And so they're really going to need us, because now not only does sellers have to go into an agreement, but buyers have to go into an agreement. And I just like it because so many agents always, to Casey's point, just make us look bad, I think, because they just run around, and it's like not teaching the general public how us as realtors are. We are professionals. Our time is valuable. Like, let's sit down and have a conversation so you can understand how this process works, and so you can buy a good house. There's a lot
of misinformation that's being spread too about all this. Like when all this went down, everyone on the news was talking about how commissions were going to come down, which means prices were going to come down. And first of all,
that didn't happen.
No. And in fact, the opposite happened, and prices are going to do what prices are going to do. And clearly, the news does not understand how sellers think, because we already had a market where where sellers were not wanting to pay commissions, and that was the for sale by owner market. And those sellers didn't drop the price because they weren't paying a commission. In most cases, they increased the price, but in a realistic environment, when you're working with an agent who knows how to price the home, okay, if they're not going to pay a commission, sellers don't just drop the price because of the fact that they're not having to pay. If the buyer's coming in and paying a commission, then the seller's still going to compare their home to the other. It's
emotional.
Homes. Yeah.
They're like, my home's worth this. And it's just, that's all they're taking to fact.
Now, from a buyer's perspective, I talk about this all the time, is if I'm having to pay my agent a commission, then yeah, I'm going to want to make sure that that the home is 3% less. But at the end of the day, it's all a wash. It's all the same amount of money. And if anything, commissions actually increase because the listing agent and the seller, they don't have a say over how much the buyer agent is going to come in asking for. Whereas before, you could list a house. You would have agents list a house and only offer 2% to the buyer's agent. Offer 1.5%. Offer 1% sometimes. And a lot of agents didn't know how to overcome those barriers, and they would just accept what was being offered.
Yes.
And now there is nothing being offered because we can't advertise it, And so buyer's agents are just automatically coming in with 3% every single time.
Yes.
And so that it actually increased commission, like from an average perspective, it increased the average commission rate.
I tell all my clients when they talk about it, I'm like, I actually appreciate the changes because again, going back to other realtors, and people just don't know what they don't know. They get into sales, they're just trying to sell something without understanding the full depth of it. But I'm like, I appreciate it more because now if I have a seller and I have a listing and they come, well, this buyer's agent just got forced to have a conversation with their buyer to understand it. So I feel like buyers now that are coming, not all of them, right? But for the most part, in my experience, it's like they get it. They understand what's going on more so now than ever.
Yeah. And I would say if you're an agent out there, don't fall into the trap of trying to skirt the rules because you want to get a sale really bad. I mean, we've had experiences.
Or you don't want to inconvenience someone.
Right. Yeah. Like, and because they just won't want to sign something. They don't want to sign the buyer broker agreement. But they're really interested in putting in an offer and wanting to work with you. It's not worth risking your license to skirt the rules for people just for one sale. Well, and it's a very challenging thing to, mentally to overcome when you have this potential, like, I can get this 3% commission right here. But if you do that, you know that you did it. And then your customer knows that you did it, and all that has to happen is one bad thing happened to the house or the property, and they blame you for it, and then they turn you in, and now it's over, right? So,
or even more simple than that, you go show someone a property and don't make them sign it, and then they go call a listing agent for another one, and they make them sign something. They go, well, the last guy didn't make me sign anything, and then they're like, well, who is that?
Oh yeah, I always
ask. The name and bam.
I always ask the question because sometimes too, a lot of clients, especially people that have like Zillow leads and different things like that, just run their business on leads. Well, they're getting people where they're like, well, I saw 5 other houses and I didn't have to sign anything. People trying to get away with it. And I'm like, oh, well, who did that? And then the clients are like, oh crap, I just broke the rule, Yeah.
I mean, unless they're just going around calling the listing agent all the time and the listing agent's opening the door, but
that's different.
But that's a lot of work, and you people, we're in a world of convenience, and nobody wants to go and call the listing agent for every house they want to see. Some people will.
Yes.
But you have to really know the ins and outs of real estate to even know to do that.
And those people already do that.
Right.
I had a sign call and they were doing just that, going around just calling all the listing agents. So I was on the phone with them trying to explain, not even a buyer broker agreement. I was just trying to do a showing agreement. And I was like, I said, I don't remember how the conversation led up to this, but basically I was just like, I was like, I love this because now clients are going to have a full understanding before they just go, just start looking at homes. And there's just like so many downfalls to just looking if you're not prepared and understanding what you're doing. And it was an awkward pause. And she goes, well, that's exactly what I want to do. I said, so you just want to go look at houses and be unprepared? I didn't know how to respond.
Yeah.
I just ended up ending the call. I was like, this is not a buyer for me.
Yeah, I was going to say it can save us a lot of time just having these conversations up front to learn about, the type of person that we're dealing with and, things like that. So overall, I think the changes have been fantastic.
I think it's like but I mean, we just came out of a 30-year low market anyways, and then plus elections, plus the NAR change. So, I mean, it was
interest rates going up.
Going up. I mean, it was a challenging last 6 months of last year for a lot of people. I know I had to work extra hard just to make what I normally make. But I don't know. I forgot where I was going with that, but I'm glad it's all over with, essentially.
And it ain't ever over. There are already changes coming.
But all those were like big major changes in the world. And it's like we already have so much pent-up demand. Like, how much more can we pin it up,
Well, I'll tell you, everyone thought that too with some of these other, like the financial crisis. Anytime something big happens, it's like, okay, we're through. But then there's always going to be something. It might not be in the next year or so. I mean, it could be 4 or 5 years from now.
Oh yeah.
But there's going to be another big market shakeup at some point.
Well, they just drug
it
on. They drug it on for so long, and it's just like it was the anticipation. That's why people got out of the business, because they had like 2-3 years to just like convince themselves that it was not going to work.
Yeah.
I am curious though, because they say like the real estate market's like every 5 years or 10 years, probably every 5 years because of the fail rate. But and how there's always like ups and downs. I'm curious, for the last 5 years since COVID, like comparing that to any other real estate 5-year market, because it's like how intense it was. Because we went from like stupid high $20,000 over asking price and 17 offers on one house to slow as heck.
Well, I think the closest
it was like very drastic
is 2008.
Yeah.
Well, that became a slow market for sure, but
not like a super intense market though, too, did it?
Yeah, no. COVID was a historically, it was a historic market that no one's ever experienced before, ever. But there's been, there's definitely been buyers markets, and every 5 years you're going to have shifts from buyers to sellers markets. It's just the nature of real estate, and it's because people go through cycles, and
the world goes through cycles.
It's just like, okay, buyers are out in full force, and it's a buyer's market, and they're buying, and interest rate is great, and then the economy starts to adjust to it. And once the economy starts to adjust, people start to pull back and slow down, and then it becomes hard to. And it's just cycles. It's just cycles. Nothing lasts forever, and it's always going to shift from buyers to balance to sellers to balance to buyers to balance to. It's just always been a thing, always. Mm-hmm. But one thing that hasn't changed is prices have always gone
up.
Now, they might go down for a period, but when you compare,
they're going to crash with this economy.
If you look at a chart for the last 100 years, I mean, it's not a straight line, but might as well be.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no guarantee, but that's what people want. It's like they want to know if they buy a property today, if they sell it at any point in time, that they're going to make money on it. It's
right.
No.
Yeah, you could be in the 3 years where it decreased.
Right.
Yeah.
So no, there's not a guarantee, but historically speaking, real estate is an excellent place to put your money, and that's no different than any other market you're going to put your money into. They all have ups and downs, And I like the historical piece on the real estate because it's not as manipulated as, it is, but it's not like the stock markets.
Yes.
Where it's completely manipulated by
someone making a comment on the news.
Well, it also depends.
Prices change.
And then all of a sudden, all these politicians just made $750 million.
Yeah.
It's like overnight. Wow.
Yeah.
They say there's no easy money. I feel like that's pretty easy.
I mean, there is.
Scoop, man.
You just need the inside scoop.
Well, that's true. They always say if you're first.
They say it so you know.
If that's true. What they always say. I read it in a book once. Like being first to market with like the hottest idea, or being the loudest in the market with the hottest new idea.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's hard. You got to be in the know.
Yeah.
You do.
Or be able to think different and think about what society and people need.
Or be able to predict, like what I think where you were going with that is be able to predict human psychology and behavior and how they're going to respond to things, Well,
I mean, we can predict human emotions
to an extent, but how many
emotions.
Top super smart people predict like this is how people will respond to a certain product, and it completely tanks,
Oh yeah, that's true.
So like there is no guarantee to how people will respond, because all it takes is a loud group of people to make something not cool, and then people like, oh, I don't want to associate and think that it's cool, and like we kind of work as like a group. I mean, just group think and majority rules type of mentality is so like prevalent in a marketplace. It just
so
is.
You're saying we need to be louder
and have people like I mean, I'll give you an example. I thought about this, like Power Hour. Okay.
What the heck is that?
I know. I was like, you might want to tell people what Power Hour is.
Power Hour is our daily I don't even know if I want to call it a training. It's where agents can get on and listen to a leader, run their business, whether it's through follow-ups, whether it's through social media, whether it's through setting appointments on FSBOs, expireds, whether it's building their team. But there's a different topic every single day. But it's designed for agents, one, to be able to learn and see how other producers run their business. But at the end of the day, they need to be getting in the habit of putting prospecting time on their calendar, and nothing gets in the way of prospecting. You always
it's a positive community, make you excited.
Yeah, and so now you're getting on and you are prospecting with other people. Okay, and so if all it takes is like a few people that are respected, like if a big name came into the brokerage and thought it was cool and was like man, like this is such a cool benefit that's being offered, like I love it, and people and then people hear that and say like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden they're going to start showing up and going, right? All it takes is like influence is all that it takes. But on the same flip side of that you can have that same influence on the other side of someone, but I don't need to do that, like I like to do it on my own, and I don't want to do it with a group, and then people could hear that and say, oh yeah, I don't want to be the only person that does that. I'm gonna listen to this person. It's just like that we cling on to like what everyone else is doing or saying or thinking is cool, and it's about influence. That's what it comes down to.
Unless you're bold, influence. Even like the cult leaders, it's like these people are they're
like
creating they're creating their own narrative and getting hundreds or if not thousands of people to clear out their bank accounts, give it to them, and then follow them in their new ways.
Talk about influence. I mean,
that's wild.
Talk about influence.
That is wild that someone can do that.
I need a mentor
all the way down
of that.
to taking your own life for that person.
Yeah.
It's insane. And it's like, so surely we could do it here.
Yeah. Surely we could.
We just got to get louder.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Loud with influence.
More influence.
That's the key.
Right.
You don't be loud without influence. You want to be loud with influence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you guys think like brokerages and MLSs and boards have really responded to the changes since everything?
Like every other corporation does.
I think they just fell in line.
Got it handled.
Yeah. They just fell in line, and based on what came down, they just kind of updated their systems to apply to the
switch
rules.
Up their CEOs to bring new change and positivity.
There's been a lot of CEO changes of big brokerages here lately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big brokerages.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the boards.
Well, I said brokerages, MLSs, and the boards. Like kind of just overall everything. I think everyone pretty much. I mean, I know everyone like talked and called, and there was a lot of community that I noticed, like in the real estate community. Like it didn't matter what brokerage you're at. Like the people that were like top producers, like they really like I feel like came together to really because they want to protect the industry too, right? And so I think they did really well with doing that. And I think a lot of people had like the same ideas, and then everyone kind of duplicated it all.
I actually found a lot of confidence through all this because, especially like following guys like Ricky Caruth, just the way he says things is encouraging because he comes out, he'll just say like, give me any system. I don't care what you want it to look like. Just do it and I'll be the top producer.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I can do that too.
Yeah.
It's always about mindset, right? If you keep thinking this way, well, if you're thinking negatively, I promise you there's a positive thing too to think about.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that they just rely on, and this is the world in general, we rely on other people to tell us how it is and what to do and what all of it means, and they just kind of sat back and waited. And like I feel like that if you can be proactive in educating yourself in the marketplace and what's going on and how these changes will affect you and things like that, then you can create a competitive advantage for yourself in some form or fashion, and you can think outside the box, as opposed to if you're just sitting there waiting for people to just tell you, and then you just take it at face value. I think you really we got to make sure we don't just take things at face value.
Oh yeah, do your own research.
It's so much easier to do that though. It's like
it is.
Someone's like, oh, this isn't ever going to work, and all the realtors are going to get out, and the business is terrible, and then you go tell all your friends and family as a realtor,
that's right. Yeah,
they're right. Business is terrible. I'm going to have to go look at a job.
They're producer,
but that's easier because then you don't have to overcome anything.
Yeah, nobody likes to take the extra effort to just go look something up. In fact, my wife just did it yesterday. Throw her on the bus here a little bit.
I'm calling her.
When I told her this last night, she was embarrassed because she sent it to other people.
Oh gosh!
And, so she sent me this video, and it was one of those videos where it says like what ChatGPT says when you ask it this question, and I go. No, ChatGPT doesn't answer those kinds of questions like that. It was a religion question, and I go, did you plug the question into ChatGPT to see? And she goes, no. Like, how could they make a video like that? I was like, well, they could have asked it
AI.
they could have asked it other questions, and then in the video they made showed a different question being asked with the answer that they wanted it to give. And so I said, so let's just go in there and let's type the question in ChatGPT. And I typed it in, and the answer I got was unknown. And I go, see, I told you it wasn't real. And she goes, dang it, that's embarrassing. I just sent that to a couple people. And I go, but the good news is that just like you ran with it, I promise you they're not going to take the time to just type. They're not going to think to just type it in ChatGPT.
Oh, no.
They're going to think, oh my gosh, like AI actually answered it like this. That must be true.
Well, what most people don't even realize, and this has always gone on, it's just in a different platform, but like there are corporations out there that do nothing but make fake news articles.
Yeah.
And just send them out.
Manipulation.
This was like a long time ago, like probably over 10 years ago. Miley Cyrus did a interview, and it was before you like hold your tongue, because everyone's like, you Miley Cyrus, but she's actually a really awesome human being if you guys don't know her very well. But
I didn't know that you knew her that well.
She's my celebrity crush.
Okay.
What?
Oh, I love Miley Cyrus. She's awesome. Anyways, interview that she did. She was like on one of the late shows. I don't remember, but it was like a time when like Lady Gaga was like really going out on stage and becoming popular. And, Lady Gaga's always dressed like crazy stuff. And so this is when like Hollywood started being crazy or whatever. And so the late night host was asking Miley about that. And she just did something like really crazy. It was probably like her wrecking ball days or something like that. And they were like, why do you do that? Like, don't you hate when people like talk bad about you? And she goes, what a lot of people don't realize is there's no such thing as bad publicity, because every time I do something or wear something crazy, and I think she even talked about Lady Gaga, when Lady Gaga came out on stage and dressed as a man or whatever, people talk about them more so than ever, and their money and their rankings go through the roof just because it's attention and conversation starting. It's just crazy.
That, I mean, to an extent, I still believe it a little bit, but
there's like a fine line.
Diddy, is it?
Well, the last like 4 years or so, there definitely is bad publicity where like because of cancel culture.
Yes.
If you're being talked about in that way, it's like, oops.
Yes. I mean, go wear your funny outfits, but like, yeah, there's things borderline. Politics, religion is the top two things to probably like, don't be different and crazy and loud about that.
But to an extent, I could even argue that you could put yourself on the map for that.
Look at Elon Musk right now. I mean, what he just didn't. Is this real? Did he really change his name on X to?
I haven't seen much. I haven't. Even
okay. Well, I mean, like, I was
Who changed the name?
Well, he changed it to Harry Bowles, but you pronounce the O a different way. And I'm like, literally, he's the richest man in the world, just shaking up the freaking government, pissing all kinds of people off. Yeah. And like, look at that's probably why he named himself that.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people talking about him, but we
don't have to get in that topic, but it's just the point of that. I'm
still mad at Elon Musk for taking my idea.
What? Oh, X.
Yeah.
Well, you should call him up. Maybe he could be our sponsor.
That'd be cool.
We get good and bad publicity at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we were talking about. I mean, he's at a point where he doesn't care because more publicity, more people talking bad, his companies are probably going to make more and more and more and more and more money.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably going to sell more Teslas now just because he's pissing people off.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
I mean, we all don't have that kind of influence. If I did that, I would just piss people off.
And be canceled.
I don't have $400 billion though. Either.
Yeah. It's called FU money.
Is he the richest person in the world right now?
Yeah, he just cleared it or something. And they said he's worth $400 billion.
Wow.
Richest man in the world.
By worth.
Right.
By worth.
Of course.
Yeah, he doesn't have $400 billion in his pocket. He'd have to sell everything, but.
Interesting.
Man.
Well, what about any predictions for the future with all these changes? I know something people have been talking about, like the DOJ of they're not done with us. They're trying to do something. And
they're going to constantly try to come after us now because they opened up that.
Well, here's what they did. They just found a way to get paid a lot of money by attacking an industry. So I don't think they're done with us, but I also I think that they're going to do the same thing to other industries. They're going to find loopholes and use the government to, get awarded these large financial sums,
Well, they can go after another industry.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I remember
Apple's getting it. Pfizer's now getting it, but rightfully so.
Yeah.
There's lots of industries.
Well, because
it's going to be it's a new business model.
It is a business model. But it's like
either you build something great, or we're going to sue you. And either way, I'm going to get rich.
Yeah.
And then they start a new company. I guess he gets $419 whatever it is $1 million, and then goes and starts a flat fee company. List your home for $49.
The attorney,
yeah,
or the seller,
and he calls it like it's like a new platform. It's like
that's been around.
He doesn't understand that these big companies have tried it and failed.
And what if I wanted to do one for 20? Well, he's got $420 million to work on it with.
Okay, but Redfin and Zillow didn't.
Well, that's true. Yeah, they got billions or half billions.
So it's already been proven that that's not a viable plan for the marketplace.
So they won't let me do it for $25 if I wanted. Are they trying to tell me that I have to pay them $49 to list?
You can do whatever you want.
Well,
Everything's
what do you mean?
negotiable.
Like as a seller or as an agent?
No. My point is they're forcing me to pay a certain price.
Oh, is it not negotiable? Is what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah. Like,
well, I have a flat fee too. It's 3%.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
whatever.
Maybe we could think of a gimmick.
I mean, they really just kind of help the industry along a little bit with increased efficiency.
They really helped agents. For
I
sure.
agree. I think it was good.
So and again, prices are still rising. Commissions have not gone down. The only way they were successful was putting doubt from realtors into their boards, more doubt, to wake us up a little bit to what's going on behind the scenes and what's happening there. And so that's really all that happened. And then they made, millions and millions of dollars, which anytime that happens, any get rich quick scheme, if you can make that kind of money in 4 years, there's going to be an adverse effect from it. Just like when people don't pay their hospital bills, then bills for everyone else goes up. It's like,
so pay your bills, people.
Well, yeah, for real.
Yeah. I mean, we've been saying that, since it all started, that this was going to be a good thing. Like, it's a great thing. Take advantage of it and go kick some butt.
And I was just as worried as the next guy, but this is my industry, and I don't really have a choice but to figure it out.
I wasn't worried at all, but I think it's because I studied it, and I was like, oh, like, this is going to be good. And here's even if even if I was afraid that this could be worrisome, it goes back to I know that I will make anything work in any market regardless of what the rules are, because the majority of people are going to play by the rules, or they're going to get kicked out of the system eventually, right? So we're all competing with the same rules, and therefore we're going to figure out a way to make it work.
If you understand what we do for a living and know how to talk to people, then no matter what change happens, you should be just fine. Because that's all it is. When you're talking to a client, they just want you to be confident in the answer, and they want to know that you know what the hell you're doing.
Which is why complacency is dangerous, and we should always fight against getting complacent, because there's always changes and opportunities to grow. Always.
Yeah, it's just people need to get used to having conversations, because I think so many agents focus on, they go to a for sale by owner and then they just hyper focus on this person. And if they don't convert them, then it's the end of the world. And it's like, no, that's not your freaking job. Your job is to go there and educate, provide value. And they either are going to sell their house today or in 3 months when you follow up with them, or heck, maybe even next year. So just be that person, do your job, and just go talk to people and educate them.
Well, and then also invest in yourself and your health and your mental health, and
get a good pillow.
In getting to understand the industry, putting yourself around other people who understand it already. Because that's the one thing I've noticed about agents that fail in this industry, is they literally just put zero effort into it. And it's like, if you don't understand how like a concept works, it's like, what do you
go figure it out?
Like you need to spend some time on that, but they won't, because it's like, well, that didn't pertain to me right now because I'm not making any money off this client. So why would I spend time
or it's not
talking about or learning about something?
Just go put some time in to learn something. It like people just want things to happen naturally, and it's
a bad combo, because they want that and they want money now. And
yes,
that's like the number one thing that people I feel like struggle with.
I know. I wish.
And then you throw the settlement into it, and it's like, oh my God. That's
the new like American dream. I think I wouldn't even call it the American dream. I think it's the American false hope, I guess is what you could call it. Is that there's a way to do nothing and do whatever we want whenever we want and be wealthy.
Right.
And I think that for whatever reason, people think that's possible.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm doing this all wrong.
Yeah, no, it's funny because like I saw this girl on Instagram, and she's talking about how she's like, girls, she's like, I can show you guys how to make a bunch of money and not take your clothes off. Like,
whoa,
that's the new. Yeah, that's what I was like. Oh,
but
it's like,
I would argue
that's the new.
Well.
The new thing.
But people want to be influencers because they think that being an influencer is, I just have to be, I could just make videos all day and make money. Mm-hmm. But the people who are making money doing that, they're working their asses off.
Yes.
They're posting videos consistently every single
day. They're
day.
Engaging, they're commenting, they're figuring out all the tech.
You can't just do nothing and be an influencer either.
And they have that time period where no one knows them. It's like the whole like, I got successful overnight, but it only took 10 years kind of thing.
Right. So
no one saw that person.
Yeah. And I think that because these influencers make it look like, oh, how fun that would be to be my job, and it's how easy, like they don't have to do anything but have fun on videos, like the production of some of those videos and like the editing that goes into it, and
that is way hard.
It's so hard. It's
especially if you're already working a full-time job.
So much work. So there is no such thing. It's just a false hope that people have.
Yeah.
Anyways,
no, it is.
Would you rather?
Oh,
I feel like we can connect one here.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, connect it.
I don't know.
I thought you had one, Curtis. I'm all disappointed.
I'm just.
Oh boy, I wasn't prepared.
Going to Would you rather?
I should have had my Chat GPT.
I got it.
Would you rather's?
Can you give me a good would you rather relating to real estate success?
We're going to teach you how to Chat GPT today.
I'm just going to go with it. Would you rather have a steady pipeline of high-end luxury listings but work twice as many hours per week, or close fewer deals but have a consistent 6-figure income with a perfect work-life balance?
Okay, that's a terrible one.
I know. I was like,
who's going to choose?
We've kind of already.
I was like, either you settle.
But also, if you have a steady pipeline of high-end luxury listings, why would you have to work twice as many hours?
Well, it's just saying you'd have to
because you got to make all the video content.
I mean, or close. But if you're closing fewer deals and have a consistent six-figure, you're closing.
Well, I want to know what kind of six-figure income you're talking about.
Yeah.
Are you talking about 300? Because if that's the case, then yeah, I could do that. If you're talking about 100,000, no, I'm gonna have to work more.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you find? Okay, let's go.
I was like,
okay, our producer has one.
It's not real estate.
That's okay. It doesn't need to be real estate.
Okay.
Just needs to be fun.
Would you rather always have to agree with everyone or never be able to agree with anyone?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Would you rather always have to agree with everyone or never be able to agree with anyone?
I think of the movie Yes Man immediately.
Well, I was thinking, we talked about this movie yesterday about the movie where the first, I think it was Ricky Gervais, and he learned how to be the first person to ever lie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
No, I thought about that too.
Man. You can watch that again. I'm thinking of whenever she comes over to his house, he goes to pick her up.
I would rather not be able to agree with anyone, because then it challenges your thought processes and growth, and you can create things from that.
But you'd be alone on an island. I think that, if you're thinking about it in your head, it's like you're always alone because you can never agree with them. But the other way is you just fall in line and you do what everyone else says, and
they tell you what to do. And, that's a tough one, because I was thinking about the control factor of if I always have to agree with somebody, then that means they just tell me, and I'm like, okay.
I don't like that.
Sounds like a plan.
But you couldn't accomplish anything if you had to argue with everyone, because it's like, hey, let's start a brokerage and let's do it this way, and then everyone's like, no.
You would almost have to just fall in line in that way too. Yeah.
So really good one, Lauren. Really good one. I think I would get lonely, so I think I would just have to fall in line and just accept my fate. I've got to give an answer. So
yeah, when you break it down, the fact is, you can't, even with the way I said it, it's even if you can challenge each other and grow, they can never agree with you, because then you're in agreement. You will never be able to convince them
ever
of your ideas.
That's so frustrating.
And so I think I would have to always have to agree with people.
Yeah, it hurts to say that, but it's true.
Yeah, if those are the options, if you really think about it at a deep level.
It doesn't matter, though. Mine's real estate related.
Do you want to save it for next time, or do we want to do it real quick?
We can do it real quick. Would you rather have a client who insists on seeing 50 houses before deciding?
Now, next one.
Or a client who makes an offer on the first house but backs out 5 times?
Oh, God, I've had both. Honestly, probably 50 houses.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
because I'm not doing all the paperwork.
And the.
I had a guy back out 5 times, literally, and I'm just like
the mental side of that.
And he's even cried in a house. Me and him, he's crying in someone else's home about, I don't think this is right. And I'm like, dude, there's something wrong with that. Yeah. There's something wrong with him. I hope he's not listening, but to be able to be like, oh, this is the house, and then spend money on inspections, and then go, oh, you know what I thought about it, or I drove by this other one, and I just want to see, there's some mental issues there.
Changing their mind constantly.
The other people, it's typical to go show 50 houses, especially if it's over the course of a year.
Yeah,
and that's just people not quite being ready.
Once they make their mind, they're made up their mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So. I'd rather show 50
even
houses.
though sometimes you're just like, is this person ever going to make a decision? What? I do this for a living and I'm tired. They've got their full-time job, their kids, their family, their sports. And are they not tired of this yet?
That's when you just recruit them into real estate.
And you hope they don't come
buy your own damn house
and go, you know what? I'm just really tired of looking.
Yeah, it's not the time.
Yeah.
We're going to wait a couple years probably.
Yeah. Hey, that's okay, because you're just feeding your pipeline for the next 2 years.
Remember less than a month ago, I told you guys that I had a client that I was upset with because they said, oh, I just have to take a break. I can't do this anymore. And then the next day, she's like, can we go see this house?
Yes.
And that was the one that she bought.
It just happens. That's why I always say houses go up for sale every day.
They do.
It's so emotional, this field. And so I don't take what people say at face value ever.
No.
Ever.
Time changes their thoughts. And usually they're just they're doing what we all do. They just word vomit and things come out of your mouth. So
I think people would be honestly surprised if you're just honest with people how far it really goes.
Yeah.
because we have a listing right now we just put on the market and it expired. And when we went there and comped it, we called them and told them that their house was $50,000 overpriced. And they were like, we're just going to wait and blah, blah, blah. And then not the next week, they're like, nope, we're done. We don't want to be in this house. Let's list it at the price that you guys said. We're like, okay.
I love clients that listen.
I know.
Best kind of clients.
Yep.
That's all she wrote.
Casey?
Well, guys, I want to thank you for stopping by.
Or listening in, tuning in.
Or tuning in. And Amy's back there smiling. I got sidetracked.
Stop staring at
like,
him.
comment, subscribe, do all the above.
Quit looking at me, Swan. Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, click the bell for future notifications. Let us know if you have any questions about any of the content that we delivered today, or if there are any other topics that you guys want to listen or hear about. We're happy to do that. And we always need new ideas anyways, so that'd be helpful. And anyways, we're signing off. I'm Casey Tudor. This is Curtis Haddock and Brooke Massey.